Well, it's a good Friday again, and I'm happy that the Lord has seen us this far. My name is Caleb, and as you already know, I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Now, there's something interesting that's going on between the judiciary and the people of Kenya. And I say the judiciary and the people of Kenya because the judiciary seems to be, in a way, operating in its own sphere. I mean, it all began when the head of state came out clearly and said there's some elements of corruption and impunity within the court system. And that simple statement from a Kenyan in the position of the head of state spark of a barrage of activities. We saw lawyers purportedly running to the streets to defend the rule of law and blah blah blah. We really will not go into that, and we thought the thing was over. But then again, what happens? The Supreme Court now comes up, and 7 judges of the Supreme Court comes out and say, we have banned so and so from ever appearing before us. What is the implication of, what does that really imply to a court of the statures and status of the Supreme Court? First of all, those are the opinions and the thoughts of the 7 judges of the Supreme Court. And as anyone else should be aware, the Supreme Court is not just about the 7 judges, the particular 7 judges. No. Those are just some of the officers sitting at the Supreme Court. Alright? And tomorrow they'll be gone. So when they stand up and make a decision banning someone from ever appearing before it, then we ask ourselves, why are they limiting the rule of law? Why would they limit access to justice? Those are actually rights that are non-derogable in this country. Because if you say that, say, Ahmed Nasir doesn't appear at all before the court, really, what kind of message are you trying to send to Kenyans? What if he comes there in his own capacity as an individual? And I see Article 50 and other articles of the Constitution, including Article 10 and Article 157, Article 22, and all those ones. They allow everyone to seek redress, and in courts for that matter. So if you say you don't want to see Ahmed Nasir and you don't want to see even his staff and other things, so you're banning other people who are not part of your problem with the particular person. And really, that's abhorrible. And whoever advised the Supreme Court, the judges of the Supreme Court, to purport to make such a move, misadvised them, and they are on a misadventure. And that's what we call a game of musical chairs. But definitely, it will leave an egg on the face of the 7 judges of the Supreme Court. You see, we are looking at the Supreme Court in this country as the court of the last resort, and it's a court that should be equated to Caesar's wife, one that's beyond reproach. Litigants will not always talk well about any particular court, especially when they don't get favorable orders. But that one doesn't now entitle you to ban them from appearing before you. And if you really don't know what you're doing, as a court, you're supposed to be a neutral arbiter, right? You are also a custodian of law, custodian of morals. You're not just there as a judge, as something else. You're representing a very important institution of government that should be free from any external and even internal considerations like these ones. Because if someone talks about a particular judge of the Supreme Court and it becomes a problem, then where does the freedom of expression leave us as a country? So I mean, is because the only reason they're saying that we're banning this guy is because he's been talking and using the media and all those things to apparently disparage some of the members of the judiciary and the Supreme Court. What's wrong with that, really? Nothing. So I think the Supreme Court should get its house in order and start acting rationally. Because if they start behaving like this, and we have a feeling that the Supreme Court is really captured from the decisions, especially the important decisions of 2013, 2017, and 2022. We might start questioning even the decisions that were coming out of those courts if the trend that the judiciary, that the Supreme Court judges, the current Supreme Court judges, I'm not saying the Supreme Court per se, I'm saying the current Supreme Court judges, because the Supreme Court will be there even after these ones are gone. So the actions of the current Supreme Court judges in Kenya should be discouraged and frowned upon, and should actually be the last of its kind.